Hey guys, here with another episode of Training Confidential. Here with Donnie. How you doing tonight, Donnie?
Not bad, man. How you doing? You
All
guys doing
right,
all
all
right?
right. Good
We,
day today. Almost Christmas. I always get cheery this time of year, so
yeah.
here.
So you
Uh,
guys
so
got you guys got the tree up, got some lights
yeah,
up and stuff.
Yeah.
yep, we do. We have actually have a real tree this year. Last year we had a fake tree. Well, we had a fake tree for the what?
Since
I don't
he was
know why,
born.
but
Since he was born.
I guess because we got it given to us, so we just used a fake tree. But yeah, it smells nice, and real trees are the way to go.
Beautiful, good
And the
stuff,
funny
man.
thing about it is our ceiling, the tree was too big for our ceiling. So
Oh,
the fake tree, we never had the top on it because we didn't have room. So anyway, all right. So first question, what is the importance of nutrition when it comes to fitness? That's huge.
yeah. And what I'll do is I'll put it in the aspect of training, and it's what I tell my clients a lot, and especially my gym pop clients, is that the training gets you the results, but the diet fuels the training.
Yep.
So you got that daisy chain. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to train the way you need to get the results you want if your diet is off. Your diet's not.
Right about that.
Because your training's only as good as your diet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It fuels the training, and the training gets you the results. So it's to a point where it's a necessity. It's an absolute necessity.
What would you say? What would you say the percentage? Of bodybuilding is related to training. Let's break it up into training, recovery, and which recovery would fall along nutrition, but let's just say nutrition and training, because training is this much of it. As they say, as being a bodybuilder, you it's a 365-day a year thing you're doing.
Especially today. And
Yeah.
we'll talk about that on another subject that we've been talking about here. We've been and we'll talk about that and stuff. But yeah, I mean, the nutrition is just not going to happen without it.
Yeah.
And that's the mindset that you really have to have. And that in itself kind of gets you a more committed to your proper nutrition.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'd put that in a training aspect, but also just in a fitness aspect. I mean, you are what you eat often, and nutrition is a big part of it and stuff. But especially in that training aspect of it, and the training is part of the fitness. So yeah, it is the thing that you have to have in order to make anything go forward.
Yeah, I've known plenty of guys in the gym that, they're in there every day, just like me, and they're working hard, but they're overtraining, and you could tell by looking at them, their diet is they're not eating enough food. You can tell you can kind of tell the look of the muscle that a person has, I think, in a sense, especially if you've seen them for a while. That they're overtraining, and the only way you can overtrain is if you're not fueling yourself, and that's what overtraining
Right.
is, right?
Yeah. Because it's in a backwards way. It's kind of, you put yourself in a deficit. Your body's in such a big deficit that it can't keep up.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with the fueling. So it getting those meals in, and with me, I have to make sure I have about 2 or 3 meals in before I even train. Typically right around about 2 meals, and then I just finish up, getting ready for the next day and stuff, because I train 5 days a week. But I would say, yeah, the composition of the calories, everybody has a different requirement for the composition based on what you're training to do, and just based on your metabolism in general and stuff.
Yeah.
And so you have to take all that stuff into consideration too.
Yeah. And that's another topic right there. All right, what do you got, Jack?
So is there any precautions specifically that you have for old age?
That's a good question. I like that.
Well, considering my status, I mean, I'm a massive pro bodybuilder and stuff, and so there definitely are some things that you have to take into precaution and stuff. So you know, I've had clients that I've trained. Like one client come to mind, and it's Cindy Michael. And Cindy Michael, she's been training with me about 22 years. We were both in our early 40s when I picked her up and stuff, and now we're in our 60s. We're both in our
Oh
60s.
wow. Okay.
And so I've had to change her training over time as she got older. And in her particular case, it was just that her joints were she couldn't handle the poundage that she could when she was in her 40s than she was in her late 50s. And so basically all I had to do was just change the training standard up, you know, drop the weights down and picked up the volume a little bit more, you know, and it was a lot easier on her joints. And that was like 7-8 years ago, and she's still at it. You know, so there's things that you have to take into consideration. And, you know, as you get older, you know, things happen. You know, you get arthritis, you get certain conditions and stuff, and that's going to affect your training. You know, as right now at 60, going on 63, I can't do the things that I did at 33. You know, for me, squats are out now, you know, because I got moderate arthritis in both knees. But, you know, you find ways, you know, to get around that. And time under tension, one of the things that we were talking about, stuff, you know, so, you know, and, you know, also, you know, your digestive enzymes as you get older, you don't digest foods, you don't process foods as well as you do when you're younger, you know. So those are things you gotta take in consideration. And like we said before, you know, training gets you the results, but the food fuels your training. And you know, if you got digestive issues, if you're not digesting food and you're not absorbing foods like you did when you were younger, you know, enzymes, stuff like that, you may have to take into consideration. So there are lots of things that you have to do. And the thing about it is, it doesn't mean that you're going to backslide or digress or anything like that and stuff, you know, because I mean, I got my pro card at 60, you know, and so and I've been doing this, you know, for a long time and stuff, you know, and so it doesn't mean that, you know, your training and everything has to take a step back. It just means that you've got to take some other, you know, you got to do some alternatives in certain things, not with everything, but with certain things. You know, you don't have to revamp everything, but there's definitely going to be some things that you're probably going to have to, you know, like me, I never really cyclic trained, you know, and they call it back. That's what they called it back in the 70s, where you have periods of a period where you're training heavier, then you got periods where you're training not as heavy and stuff, you know, or the intensity isn't as high, you know. And I didn't have to do that when I was in my 20s and 30s and stuff. But now I find myself cycling, doing more cyclic type training and stuff. Like right now, I'm gonna do probably gonna go BC squad the rest of the year. And then as I get closer and closer to my prep time, then I start picking it up and stuff, you know. Whereas before I could just train straight through and stuff, but I can't do stuff like that anymore. So these are things that you've got to take into consideration when you're getting older and stuff.
Just listen to your body. Your body's gonna tell you.
Yeah, really, yeah. So, because you know when we're in that gym, that's not the building part of it. That's the tearing down part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so you just gotta take some things into consideration when you're in your 60s and 70s and you're going through that phase.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there was another one that I should add right to that. Let's see here. Okay, so this one kind of goes along with what we're saying here. If I don't feel sore the next day, was it a waste of a workout? Meaning, you know, because a lot of people think if I'm not sore, then I didn't get a good workout. That's not true. That's not all the way true.
So, and you're right. And plus, you also got delayed onset soreness. A lot of people aren't sore the first day. Typically, it's the second or the third day and stuff.
And that's what happens.
And then, and the only time that you really get excruciatingly sore is if you completely change your workout, or if you're coming off a long break. You know, you're going to feel that sore. Now, from day to day, you know, we feel a little. You know, we train 5 days a week, and we train one muscle group per day. You know, and so I'm going to always tomorrow. I'll probably feel a little tender in my legs, just a little bit, not excruciatingly sore, but just a little bit. you know, and then when I train the next muscle group, that following day, I'm going to be a little tender with that. You know, you're not excruciatingly sore, but you know, you can tell that you've worked out and stuff. That's about the degree when you're training consistently. That's about the degree. I'd say from 1 to 10, you're probably like a 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not debilitating, it's not annoying or anything like that, but you know you did something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also it depends on what you're training for. I mean, you know, I mean, when we're like deep into our prep, we're training extremely hard, but you're not excruciatingly sore. You know what I mean?
No,
You know,
no.
but you can tell. Oh man, that was a good back workout and stuff.
Yeah.
But and that's about the extent of it and stuff. So
Yeah.
is there going to be some tenderness? You know, yeah. It may not be the day after. It may be like the following day or something like that. But if you're training consistently and you haven't been off a long break or you're not changing things up completely to where it just shocks the body, now that soreness is going to be like a 7 or something like that because you're doing something different. As a matter of fact, if we were to go out and just play like a couple of hours of basketball, you know,
You're gonna be sore. Yeah.
we're gonna be sore because our muscles just aren't used to doing that. It's you know,
Yeah.
it's not used to it and stuff. So, you know, it's you know, that's so like I said, if you're changing stuff up and you've gone off a long break, expect to be very sore. But if you're training consistently, you're going to be a little tender. Yeah, you're going to be a little tender, but it's not going to be something that it's not going to be anything debilitating or anything like that. You shouldn't be feeling like that all the time.
And you need to know what your sorenesses are. Is it muscle? Is it bone? Is it, you know, joints? You know, because that makes it. I mean, if
True.
you know,
I mean, yeah, you got, yeah, you know, I mean, if it's joint, first of all, that's not muscle. If it's joint, then you know, you probably either did something incorrectly or you're going too heavy,
yeah,
you know, or you know, if it's bone, you know, I mean, well, that's a different story too. And so it should be primarily muscle, you know, but we're gonna get, but you know, just from doing this over time and the repetitiveness of it and stuff, you're gonna get some joint stuff going on. You're gonna get these tweaks and stuff. It's just par for the course. It just comes with the program.
Yeah,
you know, it's just gonna happen.
Like my tendonitis in both my
knees. You know, this stuff is gonna
You're gonna
happen.
throw your back out every now and then.
Yeah, you know, I'm taking joint supplements, the whole 9 yards and stuff.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this it's just part of it.
Which I need to start getting on routinely because you know I lift heavy and I work out hard. You know, with you and
your shoulders held up pretty good today. So
they did. Yeah,
I was really
yeah. I think it was just getting the blood in there. You know, you get that. It's remarkable when you can go into the gym and you got a little bit of pain and you just kind of ease that blood in there and that blood fixes it. You know, at least it numbs it down.
And I can't emphasize enough that you know, especially with that first exercise, make sure that you are really warmed up for that. Those shoulders are nice and warm. You got that synovial fluid, you know, it's lubricated the joints and stuff, and you're ready to go and stuff, you know. Because once we get started, we go from 0 to 100 and like, you know, no flat. So we have to make sure that we are nice and warmed up. I know you get on the treadmill, you walk a little bit, you get everything warmed up, and then we joints and lube the joints up and stuff, and boom, we're off.
So it's like you say, once we start, we don't stop. So be ready.
Yeah.
So okay, so I skipped one here. So
what?
Probably go to that one.
So what? If you reach your current goal, what should the next steps be?
To maintain it. To maintain it, because the thing about it is this. I mean, think about it. Think about it now. I started training in 71. I would say I would probably reach my goal by the time I was 15. I was pretty well built at 15. What would have happened if I had stopped training? And okay, I reached my goal and I just stopped. I wouldn't be looking like I'm looking now, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know? So you got two parts of this thing. You got the acquisition phase. Now that they've reached their goal, now you got to maintain it. You know, the beauty about that is you don't have to work as hard as you did to acquire it, but you still got to do some work to maintain it. You know what I mean?
How do you maintain it though? Necessarily, like, is there different things?
Just give an example. Let's say let's say this person, she dropped 30 pounds,
Right.
got in acquisition phase, she got up to like an hour and a half of cardio. It was a temporary thing because, you know, she's going to reach her goal and we're going to go to another phase. Now she can back that down to maybe about 3 days a week, you know, at
Okay.
40 minutes,
That makes
you
sense.
know, to maintain it. You see,
Yeah.
you know, you know, you know, the training would probably be pretty much the same. Let's say she was training 3 to 4 days a week, you know, but she wanted to maintain, she wanted to acquire this goal, but she's pretty busy, you know, and now she can back it down to maybe 2 days a week, you know,
Okay.
to maintain.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
Okay.
and the ABC squad that how we train too, and that's
Correct.
another aspect of that. So
yeah,
because you can train C squad for a year and you're not going to lose anything. You're going to maintain everything, and
Right.
you know,
Okay.
but you know, a lot of it is having it there too. You got to get it started. Got to get it started.
right. It takes a lot more effort to move forward than to maintain where you are and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
Yeah.
so they go into the second phase. The thing about it, the thing that, and I know some people, they tend to do it, but once you reach that goal in the gym, it's not over. You don't pack stuff
Right.
up and say, okay,
Right.
because it's not going to stay.
It's
You
never
know?
over.
No, it doesn't stay.
That's
Not
never
unless you
over.
make it stay.
Okay. Okay, okay, let's see here. How often do you increase the weights, your load?
How often?
Yeah.
So, well, as often as you need it, and it just depends on the goal. Now, what I'm going to do here is let's just go with Gen Pop people, because this is a biggie right here. What I see with a lot of people is, and you hear me hear this a lot, I hear this a lot, called dialing in, getting people dialed in, you know, and that's getting to their optimum training load. Let's just go Gen Pop here, okay? Let's just say we got a guy, he just wants to get in shape and everything and stuff, you know, and let's just say, hypothetically speaking, he did the bench press, and let's say he started with maybe like 120 pounds for 10 to 12 reps or something like that. You know, and anytime he hits that 15 count, that lets you know that his body's kind of adapted to that load. So now it's time to take it up. And when I take it up about 5 pounds. 5 pound increments is what it is.
Okay.
You know, and you know, he's hitting 10 to 12s, but he's hitting 15s again, and now raise it up again. You know, so what I do, and some people, they're kind of intuitive with it. They kind of know when they need to take it up. I have training standards, you know what it is. And I'm just gonna say toning. The low end is 10, the middle is 12, the high end is 15. Whenever they're hitting 15s, especially if you're doing it comfortably, that tells me that they've outgrown this particular weight, and I'm gonna take it up by 5 pounds, and I'm gonna keep doing it until they can no longer get 15.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So now they're in that 10 to 12 range, which is where I want them, which means the challenge is a little bit higher for them. Because if there's no challenge, there's no change, you know, and so it's weight that they can handle, yet it's weight that's challenging them. Okay, so I think I kind of answered the question. If the weight, if you're trying to move forward, if you're maintaining, it's not as big of an issue, but if you're trying to move forward, if there's no challenge to the weight during the set, okay, you know, then you're not going to move forward.
Yeah.
It's just the bottom line. So the deal is, are you looking, let's say we're talking about a person that's trying to move forward, they're trying to acquire goals, and they're in that acquisition phase. So the thing that the rule of thumb is, depending on what that rep count is, there should be no comfortable reps. Like I tell a lot of my clients, some people, I tend to do single set systems. You do it too. I train some people on multiple set systems. Okay. And I tell them, let's say you're doing 3 sets, and we're going to stick with that 10, 12, 15. Okay. Well, if you're going to do your set system, you should only be able to hit that 15 once.
Yeah.
So they said that first set you get 15 reps. Well, let's see what the second set does and stuff. You know, if you can get it again, then that weight is you're either going to raise that weight. Well, you're going to have to raise the weight, actually. Okay. Because you shouldn't be able to hit 15 twice.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You shouldn't be able to top out twice. You should be, if you're going to try to top out with that, you've got to invoke some type of training principle to get there, like a rest pause or a cheat or a force rep or something like that. You're still good. Okay. On that third set, there's no way you should really be able to get you should probably barely be able to get 10 to 12. You can get it, but you just got to work a little bit for it and stuff, but you should be nowhere near that 15 count. Okay?
So when you're sorry, when you
yeah.
when you're trading those multiple sets like you're talking about, how much of a break are you giving him in between
So
sets?
at basic, so my so I tend to do half-hour workouts. One of the things with trainers, depending on whether they're doing half-hour workouts or whether they're doing hour workouts, typically an hour, a trainer who's habitually doing hour workouts, we have like an internal clock, and it's just geared for an hour. So their rest period is probably going to be a little bit longer. I train half hours. That's all I do. So that clock is in my head, and I just know when it's time for them to do the next set, and then they get accustomed to that too.
Yeah.
Okay. So their bodies are kind of used to that, and so that's how that dynamic works and stuff.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
So half an hour. I mean, you're there. I mean, to be able to get 15 the first set and not be able to get 15 the second set means a quick break. I mean, it's less than a minute, right? I mean, for a person to do that.
So in like I said, it just varies from person to person, But like I said, I typically with my clients I do single sets, so they're dialed in for one set. But if I were doing multiple sets, I would probably go maybe like 40-minute workout or something like that, or I'd have to reduce the exercises within that period of time and stuff, so because you got sets, instead of doing 3 to 4 exercises per muscle group, I would probably break it down to 2 because I'm going to do 2 to 3 sets anyway.
Yeah. So
the volume still ends up being the same. Yeah, it ends up being the same. But yeah, that's how I would normally do that.
Okay. So next question: should I start with cardio or weight training?
So that depends, and that's what I tell people to say. Hey, Donnie, I mean, because I know some people. Me personally speaking. Well, actually, I can't do them too close together anyway because my cardio is almost like weight training and stuff, So
I bet.
So I like to do cardio first, but I need to have some time in between because I do cardio at 6 a.m. And then I do my training at 2 p.m. So I got plenty of time to recover and I get some meals in me and stuff, But you're right. People that come in and let's say they're doing like a total body or something like that, and they want to get that cardio and that weight training done at the same time, then see what works for them.
Yeah.
Try me personally speaking, I would probably want to get the weight training done first, and
that's what I would say too.
But believe it or not, I've had some people they say they'd like to do it just the opposite way. It works for them.
So it's kind of like a warm up for them then.
Yeah, it works for them. I don't know. Hey, I don't know how I did, but it works for them.
Theoretically, I mean, if you're doing your weight training first, you're burning up the last of the glycogen, then you're starting to nail the fat doing the cardio afterwards.
Yes, you're already you're kind of semi in that fat burning mode anyway.
Yeah,
it's almost like fasted cardio almost.
Yeah.
Because you burn up a lot of your glycogen already. So yeah.
What were you gonna ask? You forget.
I forgot. So it doesn't matter if you do it, like it's not going to make a big difference if you do it before versus after if you get used to what your body does. So like I do it afterward currently.
Okay.
But would it be better for me to do it beforehand? And how would I know that?
Well, so the thing is it's like with me, it just feels better for me to do it earlier. I've done it, I've tried it. I've tried to do cardio first and then work. I didn't train as well.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the deal.
Right. That's how I feel
with me. And I guess it also depends on and probably with those people is what do they hold more important? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too. So,
fat or muscle,
weight training, the weight training kind of trumps cardio, well, especially on the off season, but I don't do that much. But when I'm in prep, cardio trumps everything. So
Right.
that's why I'm doing cardio first.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're gonna know by your performance, and like you said, whatever your goal is, where you're trying to burn fat or build muscle or whatever, that's gonna determine and listen to your body on that one. I mean,
Yeah, and like I said, some people it actually works for them though. I mean, they do that cardio and they're nice and warmed up, and they can really get after that training and stuff. It works for them. It's just like people getting cut on 5,000-6,000 calories a day. You know, I mean, to me that it doesn't work for me, but it works for them.
like me, that's what works for me. Okay. If I don't feel sore the next, we already asked that one. So, how should breathing? How should I breathe while I'm lifting? This is a good question.
So the rule of thumb is simple. It's when that's what I tell clients, when you go blow. So in the contractual stage of the exercise, you are exhaling. Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. So like with the bench press, when you're pushing, you're exhaling. Or with the lat pull, when you're pulling. So whenever you're doing the contractual stage, you're exhaling. Okay. And a lot of people they get it backwards and stuff,
Yeah.
And it's not like they're gonna die or anything like that, but it's just you're okay. You need to reverse your breathing and stuff. I mean, some people they they'll expect upright rows of the when they're going. I'm like, okay, let's turn that around a little bit. It's not like you're doing anything demonstrably stupid, but it's just natural. It's a natural deal to when you're contracting that you're exhaling and stuff. Also, a lot of people they tend to breathe a little bit too heavy, like especially with abs. And I've got clients, and I'm telling them, okay, so when you go blow, when you're contracting, exhale. And then you hear them like really blow. You can hear them. I'm like 3 feet away, and I'm hearing them. And I have to tell them, just breathe as hard as necessary.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't need to be doing something light and going,
yeah.
hyperventilate, and next thing you know, you're on the floor and the whole 9 yards. So.
And breathing's super important, especially with strength too, because I mean, if you're not breathing right, you're strengthening it. You got to have oxygen in there for everything to work right. So,
and there's a little bit more to it to that because I mean our bodies is like on a compression system. You got to have that ITP, interthoracic pressure. You don't want to completely blow it. You want to bleed it a little bit. You got to have air internally and stuff in order to actually push load. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't have air completely out of your lungs and stuff and then try to push with something. That's if you notice when powerlifting and stuff, whenever you're lifting heavy, you kind of hold your breath at least past the stick point and then you do that and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like on a squat, when I'm going down, I'm gonna hold my breath, stick my stomach out, because it's also gonna help support my back on the way down.
Right. Yeah.
And then when I'm coming up, the air comes out.
I don't necessarily and I learned when I was part of the team. I don't necessarily hold I just bleed it. It's almost like you're playing an instrument and you don't want too much, but you can't have it all gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just enough to get that enough compression to get that weight up and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can picture it.
I notice when I do shrugs, that one I don't breathe. I don't know. It just comes natural. I kind of hold my breath when I'm doing my reps, and I breathe when I'm done. Do you think that's a problem? I mean, it is something I breathe. I breathe right with every other exercise. It's just for whatever reason, shrugs. I just hold my breath and do it.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I just tend to bleed a little bit more and stuff. I mean, I'm exhaling, but I'm not exhaling all my hair at once. I mean, it's not all gone and stuff. I just tight lips and just as almost like I'm playing an instrument or something, and that's how I do it. And what it happens is, I don't get too much compression because, in some ways that can't be good, but only in extreme situations where, let's say, you know, you get some of these power lifters, you know, and that's where you really see it. And sometimes, you know, the blood and, you know,
Yeah.
9 yards and stuff, you know, and, you know, because
Yep.
they're holding their breath. They need a lot of compression to get
Yep.
this weight up, you
Yeah.
know, and yeah, it can really take a toll on you and stuff, you know.
Yeah. Especially with the deadlift and the squat.
Yeah, especially the deadlift and the squat and stuff, you know.
I remember one time, this was years ago, but it was almost late at night, and I was pretty upset that night for whatever. I think we got in an argument or something like that. But I went up to the gym and I'm doing squats, so there's nobody in there, and I go down with my squat. I got a ton of weight on there. I don't remember how much, but anyway, I go down, and as I'm going up, blood just rushing out of my nose. So so I look around. I'm like, oh, nobody's here. I'm gonna finish my set, you know. So I go for another rep. Same thing. I get about 5 reps into it, and there's a pool of blood down at the bottom, and I'm like, okay, well, I better stop.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's you know, you're gonna like I said, I don't I think I probably did when I was like much younger and stuff, but like I said, I tend to bleed it because you need that ITP, but at the same time, too much isn't going to be good neither in some cases and stuff, you know. Not automatic, but in some cases it won't be. It's not good.
So,
But
so
go
you
ahead.
have that problem with shrugs too, or are you doing this with shrugs too? Have
Yeah,
you
yeah.
noticed?
I just kick the air up and then that's it right there. I'm blowing between my lips,
I
so
see. Okay.
I'm exhaling, but it's not a lot of air, you know.
Yeah.
But I am exhaling, but at the same time, I still got enough ITP, okay, to get the job done and stuff. And then,
Okay.
like I said, general rule of thumb: when you go blow, okay, when you're exhaling,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
good.
you exhale whenever you're contracting, regardless of whether it's pushing or pulling or whatever.
Mhm.
That's a
Awesome.
good. That's a perfect way to view it because I've, for some reason, the 10 years that I've been weightlifting, that's the one thing that I've had an issue with is knowing when to breathe. Even though Alan's told me, you've told me, I've heard it before, but when you go blow, that helps a lot. So
Yeah,
I'll remember that.
gotta picture it in your mind, whatever
Yeah.
works for you to remember, and
I'll remember
And
it.
sometimes
go
I
with
tell
it.
people, okay, so okay, you're getting the exercise, you're getting position. All right, take a deep breath, and then when you pull or when you push, blow, and that already
Yeah.
sets it up.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes sense with what you
Yeah.
said. So yeah, I'll remember that.
Yeah. Well, I think we got a couple more questions, but I don't know if we have time for them. Well, this is a quick one. Machines versus free weights.
I like them both.
Yeah. As a
Yeah.
bodybuilder, you're going to use
Yeah.
both of them, period.
Resistance is resistance. I mean,
Yeah.
if you get it dialed in, I don't care what it is. It's whether it's free weights or tires or
Yeah. Yeah. And they are different.
whatever.
They are
Yeah.
different, but they're all a necessity. I mean, that's why they're all in a gym.
And they all have their benefits. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
know, I mean, over the years for me, it's been a combination of cables, machines, free weights. You know, what do we did today? We bounced between free weights and we bounced between the Smith machine and we did some cables and we did some machines and they were all dialed in. So you're recruiting all your fibers. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Every set was you know it was every set was perfect. So you know because we are dialed in.
Right.
You know, and that's the other important part of training this way.
Yeah. So if somebody tells me, well, I feel a barbell bench press more than I feel a machine bench. Oh, you're just not dialed in on that machine.
Yeah,
That's what it
yeah,
is.
yeah, that's true. And I think when it comes to free weights and machines, you know, if you have an injury or something like that, or you're older, or maybe you just don't know proper technique, machines is always a better option, so that just so you don't get hurt, you know, and stuff like that, because it's fixed.
Yeah.
But
I always start my clients. I start on machines first. It's just easier for them to get in the groove and get in the rhythm and stuff.
Yeah.
And then after about a month or so, a couple of months, and I see they got the range, rhythm, and tempo down and stuff. Then I start going over the free weights and stuff. And even then, you know, it's almost like seeing them start all over again and stuff. You know, so I can just imagine on day one, you know, if I tried to do it and stuff. You know, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all we got for tonight, you guys.
All right, man.
Next week we got a really good video. I'm gonna do some research on it and check it out. Donnie already has. But this is a topic that everybody needs to hear about, and just set some things right, and tell you what we think about it. But stay tuned next week for that video. Other than that, I believe that's it.
Absolutely, man.
You have a good night, Donnie, and thank you.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Have a good
now.
night, guys. Like and
Yep.
subscribe,
Good night.
please.